Hey, Frederica, I'm so happy to be here and thanks for having me on today. Yeah. I would love to. I love to talk about how I got here. All right, so I'll just jump in. So I spent 20 years raising, I sort of lost count along the way, but around $20 million for nonprofits and starting and managing social change programs in various parts of the world and in the US. And I loved it. I loved building programs and finding money for them. I worked for places like the Rainforest Alliance, and worked in things like coffee and tourism, sustainable coffee and sustainable tourism. I worked for an organization called Vision Spring, which brings reading glasses to people who don't have access to reading glasses around the world. And for those of us who are over 40, know what happens to our vision after after 40. And so, can you imagine not having access to reading glasses? And so I love traveling the world and meeting people, and there I met people I would have never met if it weren't for my job. I went to places that no tourist ever goes. And I loved it. I loved it. And I loved connecting with the people. And I was really, really proud of my work. And I had fun. Like, I think I pretty much had the best job on the planet. So yeah, except for the jet lag. The jet lag was tough. Um, but I got to a point, and despite the fact that I was incredibly grateful to be able to do the work that I was doing, I got to a point where I wanted to do more. And so after a lot of consideration, I left my role as a fundraiser it's been a little over 2 years ago now. And I did that because I found that not all of my clients, not all of the people, the donors that I worked with and other people that I worked with were happy simply donating money. They also wanted to do more. They wanted to be more involved. And I came to a point and I came to a decision where I thought I wanted to help them create even greater transformation in their communities. So I, so I had this idea to start a program where people would grow their ideas in a creative, supportive environment. But here's what I did. I sat on my idea because I was scared to death to start. I didn't know what to do first, and I didn't know what it was supposed to look like. And, honestly, I felt really restless and frustrated. When you have an idea and it's just like driving you crazy, and it's like that feeling in your stomach. And I was driving everybody absolutely insane. So, yeah. So then, the morning of November 9th, 2016, what 2016, a lot of us know is the day after the U.S. presidential elections, I turned to Facebook. Yeah, it was the day after, and a lot of us remember a feeling that wasn't so great. Um, and I turned to Facebook and saw everyone's posts, and people were saying, "What can I do? I want to do something, but I don't know how to begin. I don't want to see my trans friends, my immigrant neighbors, the women in my life disregarded and disrespected. I want to do something, but what? How do I begin?" And so it was like this aha moment for me, because I knew in that moment, on that day, that I knew how to help you begin. I knew how to help all these people who wanted to do something. I knew how to help them start, because I had been starting social and environmental change programs for 20 years. Um, and just, I just see the path forward. I know how to do these things. And I knew that if you were serious, or if they were serious, if you were ready to step up and make change in your community and fight. Now, that's an important word. Fight for whatever it is you believe in. That I can help you figure out how to turn your idea. Or maybe for some people, it's just a desire to do something. They're not quite sure what it is. I could help you turn that into real change. Um, and so I started and I sat down and mapped out my idea. I created this wonderful PowerPoint presentation that I made my wife watch. And she's like, that's fantastic. I think she told me, she's like, you make really good PowerPoints. You should do mine. It's like, I think you've missed the point, but okay. Um, and and it's been hard. It's been really hard. I'm going to be real with you. I'm like everybody else. Like I was filled with self-doubt. And honestly, sometimes I still am. Um, but then what I do is I focus on the people that I can help create change. And I focus on the kids who need help and the communities who need healing and protection. Because I'm on this mission and I have a purpose and a mission, and I don't want anything to stop me. And and I'm not gonna miss out on the chance to help you transform lives because I'm afraid or because I don't know how to get started. So I just keep building. And I got help. I got a mentor. I got a coach and a mentor, which was the best decision of my life. And I found a community to help me push my idea, kicking and screaming out there into the world. And it's been over a year. It's been, a little bit over a year now. And not only am I helping people turn their world changing, community changing ideas into action and impact, I'm also showcasing how ordinary people, because you don't have to be a celebrity to do this type of work, how ordinary people are making extraordinary change through my interview series called Ordinary Extraordinary Change Makers. So you know what? A lot can happen in a year. When I look back in a year ago, I'm just like, holy cow, I actually did a lot of stuff in 2017 and the beginning of 2018. It's so true. It's so true. Get out of here. And I think I knew that and I meant to mention that to you. So, yeah, and it's based on the idea of, yeah, like I said, you don't have to be a celebrity. You don't have to be really rich. You don't have to be anything except for somebody with an idea or even just a desire to make change. Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, please do. And I should say that I actually don't only focus on nonprofits because I don't think that nonprofits are the only structure. So nonprofit really is just a legal structure, right? I mean, we could get into that. It's a little more complicated than that, but there's a way if you don't want to start a nonprofit, if you want to start a business, you can start what I call or people call a heart-centered business where you're either providing an important service or product to the community. I mean, there's lots of examples out there of that now. And you could start a business. It doesn't have to be a nonprofit. And a lot of times it's about what it is that you're trying to achieve, what skills and strengths you bring to the table. Because if you've never worked in a nonprofit before, and you've been in the corporate world and all of a sudden saying like, oh, I'm going to go start a nonprofit, you've got a really steep learning curve. Yeah. But if you've run businesses and you're like, well, let me go out and start this social enterprise that's employing, let's say a bakery that's employing refugee women in your community. So, it's a for-profit business, and maybe there's an arm of it that's a nonprofit or something like that if you want to get grant money. And I'm not going to get into funding because that's a whole different story. But, so it's important to not just think nonprofit. And passion projects too are huge. I'm such a fan of passion projects. People who still are working their 9-to-5 jobs and are looking to add a piece of meaning into their life. And you could do a passion project that is, just a few hours a week or a few hours a month, and still has incredible impact in your community. That's exactly. Yeah, that's exactly it. And I would say over 50% of my clients are not starting nonprofits. Um, yeah, what I do, sure. So I work with successful women who typically are feeling an emptiness in their careers and have a sense that they can do more, that they can do something bigger than simply making money or furthering someone else's objective or agenda, whether it's a corporate agenda or it's your boss or whoever. And so through my Changemaker mentorship, which is my core program, I help them create healthier, more just communities by starting heart-centered businesses, nonprofits, and passion projects. So, for example, one of the women I'm working in with right now has started an organization in the Bronx called EdSnaps. So it's edsnaps.org. And she is working with high school girls who are interested in STEM, so science, technology, engineering, and math. I got that right. And so, she started this organization and she just needs help. Like she registered the organization, had the idea for what she wanted to do with it, and then was kind of like, I need somebody to get me focused, help me figure out how to do this. And then I have another client who is in the Boston area who is, she was a stay-at-home mom for years, raised her children, and is now at a point in her life where she's just like, okay, what now, right? And so her business model is a for-profit business model, sort of like a consulting business, or it is a consulting business, although she's still working on figuring out exactly what it is, but helping women who are ready to re-enter this workforce for what they've been out of the workforce for whatever reason, and want to, instead of going back into the corporate world, want to go into social impact work. And so she's working with the women, and then she's working on the nonprofit or social enterprise side to prepare them both to kind of work together and figure out how to fit skills of one person into an organization and stuff like that. Yeah. So, go ahead. Yeah, you asked how it works. So I there's a variety, a couple of ways that people work with me, and it depends often where they are on the journey of becoming a change maker. Um, when people first come to me and they're not exactly sure what it is they want to do, they may have an idea, they may have focused on an issue that really speaks to them, or they may not. A lot of people come to me and say like, I love animals and I love kids and I don't know, like I love everything and everything's pulling me, and so we spend some time working one on one, figuring out, so what is it that really makes you, I like to describe it in two different ways. It either makes your heart sing or it makes you so angry that you just want to do something about that problem. Um, for example, I had a woman call me who lives in Newark, and she just told me, I just can't take this gun violence. Like, I can't take it anymore. Like, it makes me so angry. It makes me, I'm just furious about this. And so what do I do? What do I do about this? And so with somebody like that, I work with them to figure out their idea. And we do that in a variety of ways. But the place where we start is you. Like, what's your motivation? And what do you want to get out of it? And this can sound a little self-centered at first, but actually, my philosophy is that when you go into a change-making activity, whether it's a business or a nonprofit, with intention, with knowing who you are, what you want to get out of it, and then match that with the thing that you're going to do, you are going to have much more longevity. You're going to have much more success doing that. Um, so we, so we figure out, what's in it for you, what's your motivation, and then, we do things like look at not creating the wheel, what's already being done, who can you partner with, what are you bringing to the table, and most importantly, what is the impact you want to have in the world and in your community? Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Like, a lot of people never ask that question. And yeah, in fact, I'm in the process of writing a book, and it'll be out probably April, May, and it's focused on how we as humans have an innate need to desire to leave a legacy, and for it comes into play in our lives in many different ways. But when we look at what is the legacy we want to leave, what is the impact we have on the world, and really get serious about that, we can change the world. We can change our communities. We can change our neighborhood. We can change our church. We can change our school. Whatever it is, whatever your community is defined for you, however it's defined for you. That idea of like, what is my legacy, and not waiting until you're 80 to think of what your legacy is. Although I'm going to say it's not too late to think about it then, but totally. I've never been really good at putting a title on myself, but so, so yeah. So my goal is to help you help as many people as possible and to make our community safer and healthier and more just. And I like to say a place where we can all live and be happy. Um, and and I've seen what can happen when you take an idea and put action behind it. And the problem is that most people don't believe enough in their idea, that they don't believe, or they don't believe that they can make it happen for whatever reason. Maybe it's time, I don't have enough time, money, I can't raid my 401k. By the way, you don't have to do that. Um, or they think their idea is stupid. How many times have you had an idea and you're just like, that's just stupid. Like, why do we talk to ourselves like that? Yeah, true. True. Yeah. And you know what? Stupid ideas, at least it's still an idea. Like, see, I can work with stupid ideas. Yeah, exactly. 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 Right. Exactly. Exactly. So in working with my clients, I've figured out that for people to push their ideas forward so they can change lives, they typically need three things. And one is big one. They need help getting past that inner critic that we all have that we're talking about that tells us we can't do something. So that's mindset. And that's a lot of like where the life coach kind of thing comes in, right? Um, the second one is they need information and tools without spending hours and days and years searching on their own. So my clients come to me and they're like, I started a nonprofit a year ago and I've done nothing. I've researched for a year. And I'm just like, what are you doing? Like I get it because I've been there. Like I totally get that. I did that when I first started my business. So I get that. Um, anyway, so they need information and tools without spending so much time figuring it out on their own. And I've done this. Like I've got those tools. I've got that information. I know who you should talk to. I know who to connect you to. Or I know the right questions to ask. I don't know everything. Far from. Um, so 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 we're working with my clients. So the first thing is getting past that inner critic. Then getting they the client my clients need the information tools to move forward, and then they need a community to support them. Um, Change making work is hard and it's wonderful. And when you have a community of change makers around you, helping you, cheering you on, doing your own thing, and collaborating with you, it's magic. Um, so in the end, I describe I describe myself as a coach, a mentor, and an incubator. And I need to think of a really clever word to describe those three things. So if anybody's good at like coming up with like mashing words and putting something together, that would be awesome. Yeah, kind of. It's like a think and do tank. It's a think and okay, now you got to stop thinking and do tank. Yeah, absolutely. So, the best way to get to find out what I'm doing is on kirstenbunch.com, and everybody misspells my name, and I will blame my parents on getting creative, but it's it's KIRSTENBUNCH.com. And so you can go on there, you can book a free discovery call. It's free, no obligation, nothing. We'll just have like a really cool conversation. You can do that right on there. And you can also read my Ordinary Extraordinary Changemaker series and find out what other people like you are doing in their communities to make change. And I'm also on Facebook. Find me on Facebook and LinkedIn. Those are the places I hang out. Yes. Yeah. That is a great question. And it's actually a question I've been asking myself for decades. Because part of me really wishes, like for a while, I was like all my friends who were in banking were rich. They had lots of money, and I was always poor. But that was also because I was not serious about making money. So that's a whole different story. We want to get into that. And I don't want to say by any stretch of the imagination that doing change making work doesn't mean you can't support yourself. I'm just weird like that. Not anymore. When I was younger. Anyway, I'll stop talking about that now. Um, so I think in some ways, I think how I was raised by my parents had a lot to do with my path. Um, they taught me to care about my community and other people, and to help people or help animals, help the planet when I could. And so I was drawn to that type of work from a really young age. I always, I was like, oh, I want to be a vet. When you're a kid, there's like, you change your mind every day. Like, I want to be a vet, and I, want to be a teacher. It was never like, I want to, I don't know. It was never like I want to sell cars or something like that. And actually, it's funny because I did work for a big private bank for several years. And no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't ignore the feeling in my gut that I could be doing more. And I, I felt like I could be doing something much, much bigger than just making money or furthering a corporate agenda. And I talked about that a little while ago. Most of my clients describe that same feeling. And it's kind of, I don't know, maybe somebody who's listening to this, or a few people who are listening to this, can feel that pull in your stomach where you're just like, like, I don't know, like, what is this? But it's a feeling of wanting to do something more. Um, but I would also say what led me to nonprofit work, and this is back to my, like, what's your motivation? Like, what do you want to get back? Like, what do you want to get out of giving back? Is I really wanted to travel the world. And I saw international nonprofits as a way to do that. And so I did. And so I started, got a job, and there I was. I think my first country was Costa Rica, working. And that was many years ago. Costa Rica is a little bit different now, but it was something to go there as a young 20 something. Yeah. Oh no, yeah. Missionary is one type of work, but it's actually not a type of work that I'm that familiar with. I worked for international nonprofits who Um, they did a variety of different things. One organization I worked for was called Aid to Artisans, and they helped artisans, people who make handcrafts, bring their products to market in the US and Europe, even locally sometimes, in order to create income opportunities and economic opportunities for the artisans. Um, many artisans around the world are women, and are not actively involved, or as actively as they could be in the economic, the local economy, or in their economy in their country. And handcrafts are a way for them to get their to enter that economy, and by getting their product to market. It affords them opportunities to support their families, send their kids to schools, etc. And actually, it's funny, I mentioned that example, because in my story series that this month I just put out a story about Catherine Shimoni and Joan Schifrin, who started Global Goods Partners. And it's an online marketplace, where you can buy handcrafted goods made by women around the world. And it's fair trade, and they work with the communities, and they work with the women to build strong businesses in these communities. So that's also on my website. If you want to jump on over and read that, it's a pretty cool story. Yeah, so my typical client are successful women. They come from the corporate world, academia. They're stay-at-home moms whose kids have left the nest or are about to. And a lot of them are thinking, what's my next act? Um, I'd like to tell this story. I had a woman call me a few months ago who, I forget how old she was. She was in her late 60s, and she's a political mover and shaker in New Jersey, and had done all these amazing things, like created change like crazy all over. And she said to me, she's like, I want my next act to be something that has a lot of personal meaning to me. And I want to help people who I want to help now. And she really, that really sat with me, or she really sat with me, because I was just like, this woman could completely just retire right now and be like absolutely satisfied with what she's done in life, or at least from my point of view. But and this is back to legacy. Your legacy isn't done until you say it's done. Yeah. Yeah. So how do I find my clients? So, honestly, every time I do an interview like this, someone hears it and asks me to speak with their group. So I find a lot of people that way. I also get a lot of people who book free discovery calls with me after they hear me speak. And then referrals are key. My clients get good results from working with me, and they like to brag about all the cool things they're doing. And so eventually somebody asks, well, how did you do all this? And they're like, thanks for that. So, yeah, yeah. And even though I say I work primarily with women, I'm not like, it's not like if you're a dude, I'm gonna hang up the phone on you. I just So I love talking to anybody who has an idea to make change in their community and in the world. Like, even if we don't end up working together, that's fine. Like, let's have a really cool conversation. That's right. Hmm. say, don't look back in 10 years and wish you had started today. Take action today. You know, whether it's booking a free discovery call with me or it's doing a little research as to what, about the issue that you're passionate about. It doesn't, nobody's saying that if you're working, nobody's saying that you have to quit your job today or tomorrow, or even next year if you don't want to. Dipping your toe in doesn't mean that your whole life has to change because you're thinking about how you might pursue a passion. And there is a way, I should say, there is a way to make change in your community and in your life in a way that fits into your life reality. Like we all have these reality of life where we need a certain amount of money or we only have so much time or, I have people who call me who have different abilities or they can't leave their home or, there's a variety of reasons. And there is a way for everybody and anybody to make change no matter what your reality is. Yeah. So it's so again, I just don't wait. Like what are you waiting for? Honestly, just get started in one way or another. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. That's a great summary. All right. So in that case, go to Kirsten Bunch, KirstenBunch.com and book a free discovery call with me. Or get on, I have a lot of I do free webinars every month. So you can also go to kirstenbunch.com/free, I think it is. Yeah, I'm sure that is. And get on my webinar list. So that one's coming up. You can jump on there and find out all sorts of great information about how you can move your idea forward or how you can just figure out your path to giving back. Um, I think the greatest lesson is that I have power. I have power to change the world in small ways and in big ways. And I don't think I would have ever been able to use that power or recognize that power fully. And I'm still like everybody else, still coming in, learning these things and coming into my own. But if I hadn't taken action to change the course of my life, I would not have recognized that power. And I don't know where it's going to lead me. My vision is that a lot of people come and work with me and I get to stand up in 10 years and point in every direction of all this change that has happened. Not that I've can take credit for that change, but I can take credit for helping people get started. And that's power right there. That's really powerful. And I'm not going to lie, it feels great. Yes. Yeah, so stay tuned for the book. And like I said, I have webinars every month. So like on topics such as how to go from corporate leader to impactful change maker. And again, you can sign up for those and find out. You get like the first notice on those because they fill up pretty quickly. So the website for that, or the URL for that, is kirstenbunch.com/free. And then the book, yes, so the book is coming out soon, April, May. My publisher's really pushing me. Um, and yeah, of course. And sorry, my phone decided to start blowing up right at the end here. So, so the book's coming out, and the really cool thing is that I am looking for people who are interested in the work that I'm doing, that want to be co-creators and be on my book launch team. So it's like you get to tell me what you think about the cover, and you get to tell me what you think about the title, and so I don't like to create by myself. So I'm forming this book launch team. So um, you can actually, if you're interested in being on that, you can find me on Facebook, or you can email me at info@kirstenbunch.com. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Yes. I just want to say that, you know, I know this isn't for everyone, and that's okay. And we're all at different stages in our life, and we all have different purposes in life, and that's great. I love that. But if you are curious at all about how you can transform lives in a way that works for you in your own life, book a call with me. It's free. I'm not saying we're going to work together or not, but even if we don't decide to work together, I'll still give you ideas and encouragement to move your ideas forward, or even to simply find your issue and your big idea. Sure, www.kirstenbunch.com, and that's KIRSTENBUNCH.com. And LinkedIn. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for having me.